What's going on, Tamers? It's me, Guy, who's finally back. And also, yeah, Happy New Year. So I've been gone for about a month. I went to go visit my family and friends over the holidays back in America. As a long-time watcher of the channel that I lived in Japan and Tokyo. So yeah, I was away from my streaming and recording equipment for a long time. So I basically missed all of the EX04 set. So I'm kind of sprinting this week to get as much done as I can. I grabbed a bunch of boxes that I had ordered before I left last year and open up the cards there, made a couple of decks, and I've just been grinding games since I've returned back to Japan here. Another reason I'm sprinting to get videos out this week is because at the end of this week, the next set, Rising Wind, it's like a reboot booster, is coming out. For folks who don't know what that means, they're re-releasing a lot of cards that were originally hard to get your hands on, things like super rares, secret rares, and even promo cards in this set, so lots of reprints there. Additionally, if you're a fan of the Digimon Ghost Game anime, then this set also features really powerful cards using the poster children of that anime, which are Gamamon, Angoramon, and Jellymon. It seems with the cards from that set that you can actually build fully fleshed out decks using those, but let's not put the champion before the rookie. So today's video features the EX04 alternative being poster child deck, main deck for that set. To my surprise, without having looked at any of the cards before they released, I found out that this deck is a combo deck that features the ability to swing any game off of even a single memory. Also, this deck mostly consists of cards that are just in the EX4 box set. So if you buy a box or two, grab most of the cards there and get maybe an Alter B, then you can pretty much build the deck, you know, barring a few like Agumon and Greymon cards. But anyway, let's take a look at what the actual deck contains and how to play it. So shifting to the deck cam view here, we're going to start out like always with the level 2s, and this one's going to include 4 copies of the EX4 Tsunomon. He just lets you draw whenever one of your other Digimon on the field evolves. So yeah, any bit of card draw you can squeeze out of this deck is going to be great, and that's why this guy is so important. So I expect this deck profile video to actually be pretty quick.
My detector test determined that was a lie.
Because a lot of the cards in this deck kind of do the same thing. The first example of this is going to be the level 3s with 4 copies of the EX4 Agumon, who basically on play allows you to search top 3 cards for a Greymon named card and then a Gabumon or Garurumon named card or Omnimon named card. So you put one of those in your hand, and what's really important about this card is the cards that you don't select are placed at the top of your deck in any order, not the bottom. Keep in mind. The way this deck works, you're going to be going through pretty much every card in the deck. You're going to be drawing off the top every single card, even if you don't grab them in a search. Also on Inheritance, he gives you +1 memory whenever another Digimon in your field evolves. Additionally, the Gabumon does the exact same thing with the reverse search effects. So he's going to allow you to grab one Garurumon named card and then also one Digimon with Agumon, Greymon, or Omegamon or Omnimon in its name. So 4 of each of those. These are going to be your main searchers. You're going to need these guys to dig through the deck as fast as possible. And again, while these Inheritance effects don't seem super great, they're actually super impactful in keeping your turn whenever you actually make your combo happen. And to wrap up our level 3s, we're actually going to include 4 copies of the BT12 Agumon. So this guy digivolves from Koromon for 0, and unfortunately his digivolve cost is 1 otherwise. So I mean, if you're going to be going from your Tsunomon to this guy, it's going to cost you, but you're typically going to want to play this guy anyway. He's going to allow you to search top 4 cards for a Greymon named card or Omnimon named card, as well as a Tamer with Tai in its name. That is really, really, really important. Additionally, on Inheritance, as always, he's going to give you +1000 on both turns if you have Greymon or Omnimon in the name. And what you're really wanting out of this card is the fact that it allows you to search out the Tamer, because the Tamer for this card is grossly important. So the level 4s for this deck are actually pretty similar, much like the Agumon and Gabumon, in that they have like similar effects. So the first one we're going to talk about is going to be the Greymon here, who on Digivolve for 2 allows you to Digivolve another Digimon on your side of the board into a Digimon with Garurumon in its name from your hand for cost -2. That's going to be really important, that cost -2 later on. We'll talk about it when we get there. Additionally, on Inheritance, he just has a reboot. And also, much like the Greymon, we have Garurumon with a really similar effect. You basically cost -2 Digivolve. Instead of a Digimon with Garurumon in its name, though, you have to Digivolve into a Digimon with Greymon in its name. So you can kind of see how the effects are starting to work here. Again, the neat thing about this is because the Digivolve comes from an effect, even if the memory swings over to your opponent's turn, you can still get this off and keep building a Digimon while your turn is technically over, I guess. Yeah. But additionally, this guy also has a reboot on Inheritance as well. The last level 4 for the deck includes 2 copies of the BT12 Greymon. So the black-red guy here, he digivolves from an Agumon named Digimon for 2. He comes from a Gabumon for 3. Keep that in mind. The memory counts in this deck are actually pretty important because you want to make sure that you can actually finish the combo and be able to attack if possible. If you're familiar with the War Greymon deck that came out in BT12, then his effect should be no surprise to you. If you don't have a Tamer with Tai in its name on the board, you can just play one from your hand for free. Additionally, on Inheritance, if you have Greymon or Omnimon in the name, he gets +1000 on both turns. So the level 5s for the deck include 4 copies of each the Metal Greymon from EX04, as well as the Weregarurumon from EX4. Both these guys have blocker. They both have blocker and inheritance as well. The Metal Greymon, like the Greymon before it, allows you to Digivolve another Digimon on your side of the board into a Digimon with Weregarurumon, or excuse me, with Garurumon in its name for cost -2. Additionally, the Weregarurumon has the same effect, where it allows you to Digivolve another Digimon on your side of the board into a Digimon with Greymon in its name for cost -2 as well. Just keep in mind that when we talk about these Digivolution effects, they also have the caveat that the Digimon that you Digivolve into has to be level 6 or lower, which basically means you can't go into like an Agumon or a Gabumon for like dirt cheap. So the level 6s for this deck actually break a rule that I typically have, in that I try to have about 6 level 6 cards in a deck, but in this deck I have 8 just because I need to find these cards so desperately. So the first one we're going to have is going to be 4 copies of the EX4 Blitz Greymon. So this guy Digivolves from a Metal Greymon for 3, otherwise he's 4 from a red or black Digimon, and then on Digivolve you can choose of 3 effects. You can choose one of them. The first is to either De-Digivolve 3 of your opponent's Digimon one stage. You can also Digivolve another Digimon on your side of the board into a Digimon that's level 6 or lower that it has Garurumon in its name. It's basically the Crest Garurumon. Or you can Jogress. So this guy again lets you continue the chain. The one caveat here is that his Digivolve effect, where he allows you to Digivolve the other Digimon, does not come at cost -2. It's actually free. It's entirely free. And then on Inheritance, he has the ability, if you have Omnimon in your name, when you attack, you can just discard one of your opponent's security outright. And like I mentioned before, this deck also includes the 4 copies of Crest Garurumon. So Crest Garurumon has similar effects where, first off, he Digivolves from a blue or black level 5 for 4 cost. He also Digivolves from a Weregarurumon for 3 cost. Additionally, you can choose one of the 3 effects below. You can either take cards with a total cost of 6 or lower out of your opponent's Digimon and return all of them to the bottom of the deck. Or you can, like the Blitz Greymon, you can Digivolve another Digimon on your side of the board into a Digimon with Greymon in its name that's level 6 or lower for free. And then finally, you can either do a Jogress for free. It tells you that you have to pay the Jogress cost, but at this point in the game, every Jogress has been 0 cost. So this effect is solely here so that you can actually do the Jogress at the end of your turn, even if the memory swings over to your opponent's side. And then finally on Inheritance, whenever you attack, you can take a level 5 or lower Digimon and put it to the bottom of your opponent's deck as long as this card has Omnimon in its name. So this deck also has a fair number of level 7s. The first one we're going to talk about is kind of like the card that you're hoping to get to during the course of the game. That's going to be 3 copies of your Omnimon Alter S. So this guy can Jogress from a blue and a red Digimon, both level 6 for 0. Additionally, on Digivolve, he takes a Digimon with 8,000 DP or less and basically just destroys it outright. Additionally, he can take one of your opponent's level 6 or higher Digimon and return them to the bottom of the deck. And then on both turns, whenever he would be removed from the field, so I'm talking, destroyed, sent to the hand, sent to the deck, wherever. Instead of that, you basically take the Jogress, Blitz Greymon, and Crest Garurumon in his sources, play them on the field, and then you put him at the bottom of your security stack. So this means that your last security is going to be super beefy. You get to recover at the same time, and you get 2 Digimon out of it who also are pretty strong in their own right. The last Digimon we're going to have for this deck is going to be 2 copies of the secret rare from EX4, Omnimon Alter B. So he Digivolves from a black level 6 for 5, but what you're really aiming for here is the special effect where he allows you to Digivolve from a Digimon with Omnimon in its name, and that's level 7 for 2 cost. Now on Digivolve, he allows you to De-Digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon 3 stages, and then you could take cards with cost up to 6, as far as Digimon are concerned, and basically destroy them. So if your opponent has like 2 cost 3s on the board after you do the De-Digivolution, then you can just get rid of them both. And then additionally, when he attacks, you can spend all of the cards that are level 6 or higher in his sources and discard each of them. Now when you discard each of them, or for each card that you discard, you can destroy the lowest cost Digimon or Tamer on your opponent's side of the board. It has the added effect where if you end up discarding 3 cards here, the Blitz Greymon, the Crest Garurumon, and the Omnimon Alter S, you can additionally on attack make your opponent discard 2 security cards. The idea is that this guy is a game finisher basically. So when your opponent has 2 security left on the field, you drop him for 2 cost, you get rid of some blockers in your way, Digivolve some stuff, get rid of some stuff, and then you can attack, make your opponent discard 2 securities, and then swing for game. So we've pretty much maxed out the Digimon for this deck for maximum searchability because we need to find basically one of each of these cards in order to get our combo off. Now, in order to help further that game plan, we're also going to include 2 option cards. The first is going to be Black Memory Boost. This guy's going to let you search the top 4 cards of your deck and grab a black card that's a Digimon. So any black Digimon, you can pretty much grab whatever you need as far as whatever you're missing is concerned. The small exception of the Alter S. You cannot grab the Alter S here. And then additionally, you know, there's those turns where you want to be able to like play like an extra Gabumon or extra Agumon and search a little bit more. You can use the memory for these guys to make that happen. The other option for this deck is just 1 copy of the what is this? Golden Beast Sword and Red Dragon Bullet option card. This is just an insurance policy. This card allows you to activate one of the following effects for 3 costs. If you have a Crest Garurumon, so the level 6 Garurumon on the field, you can Digivolve an Agumon or a Greymon card into Blitz Greymon. So you can basically Warp Digivolve into the Blitz Greymon. You can also do the opposite. So if you have the Blitz Greymon on the board, you can Digivolve one of your Gabumon or Garurumon cards into Crest Garurumon. Additionally, whenever you find this card in security, the security effect is it allows you to pull a Gabumon or an Agumon from the trash and play it for free. Additionally, this card comes to the hand. So you're always going to be able to have this card in hand in case you're in the game and you're finding one of the lines but not the other one, but you have like the end pieces and the beginning pieces but none of the filler, then yeah, this card is a great way to just make sure that you don't fall too far behind. So now we come to the Tamers, and this is going to include what I think is the most important card in the deck, and that is going to be 4 copies of the Matt and Tai Tamer from EX04. So when you play a Agumon or a Gabumon during your turn, you can just gain a memory. Additionally, on your turn, once per turn here, whenever you would Digivolve into a Greymon named card, then you can play a Gabumon from your trash or your hand for free. And additionally, the opposite is also true. So instead of Digivolving to a Greymon named card, if you Digivolve into a Garurumon named card, then you can play an Agumon from your trash or hand for free. So this allows you to basically get a combo out with only a single piece having at the start of the turn, but having something in the trash or in your hand to help you out. This is the one card, in my opinion, that you want to absolutely make sure you find over the course of the game as soon as possible, because your opponent is going to do their best not to give you any memory, and this card allows you to basically skirt that and get your combo out even with like 1 memory, and not give your opponent a ton of memory to work with after that. So we've talked a lot about the actual cards in the deck, but what I think is more important is the actual game plan as well as the combo for the deck to execute and to win the game. So let's talk a little bit about what you actually want to be doing with this deck. So the first and foremost, what you need to do is collect these 10 cards over the course of the game at minimum. Maybe you can leave these guys out, but it makes it much harder. So yeah, maybe 9, but I recommend all 10 of these cards. You want to get the Tamer down as fast as you possibly can, and then start to accumulate these guys in your hand or on the field. So first and foremost, you're going to be playing your Agumon, you're going to be playing the other Agumon to search out, and also your Gabumon to search for the other pieces in the deck, as well as the Matt and Tai Tamer off of this Agumon himself. Additionally, you can go and you want to save most of these pieces, but if you do manage to draw like one of the copies of the Greymon in this deck, you can just Digivolve into this guy and just play the Tamer down for free, which is fantastic because you get a 2-cost Tamer down. And then once you have most of these cards or all of these cards, what you can do is actually execute your combo to go from a level 3 to a level 7 in a single turn. So let's take a look at what that combo actually looks like. So a couple of things to keep in mind. I've got all the cards that I needed that I collected over the course of the game in my hand. I've got a Gabumon in the trash here. You can also have this in your hand if you want. I've also got my Matt and Tai Tamer down. I have an Agumon in Raising, and I've got, you can note here, 1 memory to work with. So to actually execute here, I'm going to promote my Agumon at the beginning of my turn, and I'm going to Digivolve him into a Greymon for 2 costs. So I'm going to swing this over to my opponent's side, draw a card for Digivolution. Now, when he Digivolves, the Tamer goes off, and I can basically use this effect to play a Gabumon from my hand or trash for free. And then when he's played, I can use their secondary effect to rest them and then gain a memory. I can use the Gabumon search effect here to dig through the deck a little bit. And now my Greymon's effect to Digivolve goes off. So I can Digivolve one other Digimon on my board into something with Garurumon in its name for cost -2, and that's going to be the actual Garurumon here. So cost -2, 2-cost Digivolve is a free Digivolution, draw for that. And then a couple things happen during this Digivolution especially. The Tsunomon goes off, so I can draw an extra card. And my Agumon also, his inheritance effect goes off, so I can gain +1 memory. Now Garurumon's Digivolution effect is going to activate. He allows me to Digivolve another Digimon on my side of the board into a Greymon named Digimon. So I'm going to Digivolve my Greymon into Metal Greymon, and again this is cost -2, so it's only a 1-cost Digivolve. Go to 0 here, but my Gabumon's inheritance effect activates, and I gain +1 memory, so I go back to 1. So this is essentially a free Digivolve here. And now my Metal Greymon's effect goes off, and I can Digivolve into a Garurumon named card for one of my other Digimon on board. So we're going to take this Garurumon and go into Where Garurumon for cost -2. And because it's a 3 cost, it's actually going to be a 1 cost Digivolve. And draw for that. Again, Where Garurumon's effect goes off, and I can continue the chain here. You can kind of see how this works at this point. I can just go into my Blitz Greymon. Because it's coming from a Metal Greymon, he can Digivolve here for 3 from a Metal Greymon instead of the 4 cost black or red. And because it's the Where Garurumon's effect, it's cost -2, so it's going to be a 1 cost Digivolve. Blitz Greymon, I choose which effect I want to activate, and in this case, since I want to get to my level 7, I'm going to Digivolve. I'm going to choose to Digivolve one of my other Digimon on board into a Garurumon named card for free. This allows me to go into the Crest Garurumon for 0 cost. And now you can see that I'm still at -1 on my opponent's side, so if it was my turn, I might actually stop there and use his effect to bottom deck some of my opponent's cards. But in this case, I'm actually just going to use his effect, and I'm going to choose to Joggers instead on Digivolution. So I can now take both of these guys here, and by paying the Joggers cost, which is 0, then I can Digivolve the Caress Garurumon and the Blitz Greymon into my Omnimon Alter S. And if I can move the glare here with this massive stack I have, you can see him in all of his glory. And now we have Omnimon Alter S, who allows me to destroy something 8k or lower, and bottom deck one of my opponent's level 6 or higher Digimon on the board. And they only have 1 memory to work with. He also has Blocker and Reboot 2 times over. And also, next turn when I attack, I'll be able to bottom deck something that's level 5 or lower on my opponent's side of the board. And whenever I attack, I'll be able to basically swing and just make my opponent discard a security on that swing before I actually do the security check itself. And now, if they try to destroy this guy, I'm going to get my Caress Garurumon and my Blitz Greymon back. So you can see it's a pretty powerful combo. And in this case, we spent 2 memory to go from a level 2, level 3 to a level 7. Not bad. So I actually want to go through that combo just one more time with the change of not having the Mat and Tamer on the board. So without these guys, I want to show you how it's different and how much more memory it actually uses and why these guys are actually so important. So this time, let's imagine I have, again, the Agumon and Raising. I've got 3 memory to work with, and I have the Gabumon. Instead of in the trash here, since I can't play from the trash, I had to play from my hand. I'm just going to keep it in my hand here. So what I'm going to do is start my turn. I'm going to promote my Agumon here. And then I'm going to play my Gabumon, use his effect to search. That's a 3 cost play. Then I'm going to go into my Greymon for 2. Swings over to my opponent's side for 2. Draw a card for Digivolution. And then I'm going to use his effect to Digivolve into Garurumon. Garurumon is a 2 cost Digivolve. But because of Greymon, it's -2 cost. And then because of Agumon, I get +1 memory. And I also get 1 draw off the Tsunamon and the Digivolution draw as well. It'll be ping pong back here to the Garurumon's effect. We're going to Digivolve Greymon into Metal Greymon for 3. But then it's with the Garurumon's effect, it's cost -2, so it's 1. And then because we Digivolved another Digimon on the side of the board, the Gabumon's Inheritance effect goes off and it's +1. So it's essentially, again, a free Digivolve. Ping pong back again from Metal Greymon. We're going to use his effect to Digivolve into the Garurumon for, again, cost 1 because we've already used up the effects in Inheritance. And it's cost -2 Digivolve, so 3 -2 is 1. We're going to use Garurumon's effect to use the Metal Greymon and go into Blitz Greymon here for, again, cost 1. Cost -2 Digivolve. It's 3 from a Metal Greymon, so it goes to 3 on my opponent's side. Blitz Greymon allows me to go into Crest Garurumon for absolutely free. And then I Joggers both of these guys again. Now you can see this one takes 6 memory instead of the 2. And it gives your opponent a chance to actually make some plays here. So having that Mat and Tamer to reduce this entire chain by 4 is pretty big. A couple of final points that I want to touch on here. The Digimon that you start off with, the opposite is going to be the last one in the chain to Digivolve. So that's kind of important just because if you want to time it so that you get your Blitz Greymon's effect at the end of the turn, if you're still going to have memory and you can attack with both of these guys, you want to get that De-Digivolution effect on 3 of your opponent's Digimon, then you're going to want to start with Gabumon. Meanwhile, if you want to go and use the Crest Garurumon's effect to bottom deck something on your opponent's side of the board, then you're going to want to start with the Agumon here. Just keep that in mind. Another thing to think about here is that if you don't have all of the pieces when you start this combo, it's sometimes okay to make that leap of faith. And why do I say that? Because over the course of like all these Digivolutions, you're drawing a ton. So if you have at least like the level 3s and maybe the level 4s, then it's okay to, I think, start the combo because chances are of the 9 cards you're going to draw during the course of this combo, at 9 or 8, you probably grab the card that you need on the top at maybe level 5 or level 6, or even level 7. So don't be too afraid if you've got the level 4s, but you're missing maybe like one level 5 or like one level 6, because you're really likely to draw, again, 1/5 of your deck during the course of this, so it's fine. And then finally, once you get your Alter S up, you're nigh unkillable, but keep in mind, De-Digivolution is an effect in this game, and the Alter S stops pretty much everything except De-Digivolution. So, yeah, if your opponent does De-Digivolve you, you're actually going to be into your Crest Gurumon. So if you can try and find another Blitzgreymon and have maybe an Agumon in hand, this allows you to use the option card that we talked about before, Golden Beastblade and Red Dragon Bullet, in order to maybe take an Agumon and then warp Digivolve it into the Blitzgreymon, and then use its effect to go into another Omnimon Alter S. So I don't keep too many like insurance policy cards in this deck, but I do keep this the one of the Jesus, there it is. The one copy of Golden Beastblade and Red Dragon Bullet, just because, you know, games aren't perfect, and right now De-Digivolution is actually really strong, so a lot of decks do run it. So just in case. Or if for whatever reason you can only during the course of the game go into one line and you have the beginning and end piece of the other line, but not the middle pieces, this card is also pretty useful for 3-cost Digivolve. It's going to allow you to get to your Omnimon Alter S. So yeah. On the topic of matchups, the deck does surprisingly well against some of the stronger decks in the meta. For example, the black variant of Black-White Greymon, or Greymon. That archetype at this point, it was just like smorgasbord of good cards. The black variant, where they uses Black-White Greymon and things like that, it gives you time. It gives this deck time to set up, so they can actually make some pretty big plays. But it's going to be a long, drawn-out game. Keep that in mind. They do have access to De-Digivolution in some cases, and but you also do too. So using your Blitzgreymon to get around the Black-White Greymon is going to be super important. But that, I feel, is a winnable matchup. Hunters is kind of a toss-up, but I find that if they don't find their superior mode, then you're typically in a pretty good position. They do have a little bit of De-Digivolution sometimes if they run the 2-Armon. Be aware of that. But other than that, I think the deck is you're pretty good as long as you can avoid superior mode. Keep in mind that superior mode's effect of allowing you to put a Digimon up under a Tamer does count as removing it from the board. So if they try to do that to your Omnimon Alter S, it doesn't work out. So it actually, Omnimon Alter S goes to your security, the Blitzgreymon and the Crest Gurumon come down, and they basically just hit nothing. So once Omnimon Alter S is down against that deck, they are in a really tough spot. But watch out for if they do run a couple of Quartzmons. Quartzmon's kind of problematic for this deck. What else? Green. You get your back blown out by green. Green's just too fast. They can set up an entire board while you're still looking for pieces, so it's a really, really tough matchup. Other than that, Kaiser Greymon is pretty tight. Blue Flare is a little bit rough because they can just freeze you. Even if you can get to your Omnimon Alter S, then they can just kind of freeze them on board, and it's kind of problematic. Also, I just want to say, man, the new Blue Flare in EX04 feels buttery smooth. If I was like really like playing this set, I would have like gone headfirst into that deck, because after trying out just a couple of games with some of the new cards, it is, whew. I'm surprised it doesn't have better results. Anyway, this video is not about that deck, so let me stop there. But yeah, I think against a lot of the stronger decks, it has decent matchups. Again, green is going to be like your biggest problem. The problem is green is actually really strong, so you might see that quite a bit. But yeah, that's going to be the actual deck. I hope that you guys have a lot of fun either building this, trying it out, or just trying to execute the combo. Because once you get it off, you feel really smart. It does have like Yu-Gi-Oh-ish vibes, where it's not completely out of control, but like you just like effect. You get to ping pong your Digimon all the way up to a level 7. So let me know, what are you guys' thoughts on actual combo decks in games? I think this one is actually really well balanced in that it's very strong, but it's kind of hard to get out before you'll actually die. I think that's really good balance for combo decks, considering some people feel like once you have like a really strong combo deck, the game becomes solitaire. But let me know your guys' thoughts. Also, are there any cards that you would change in this lineup that I've talked about? I was really messing with some of the option cards. I didn't really care for Black Memory Boost in the beginning, because it drops cards to the bottom of the deck, and if you miss something that you can't grab, then that's pretty painful. But yeah, let me know your thoughts below. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here. Do me a favor, hit the subscribe button. I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. Man, it feels good to be back.